Good afternoon, RaeAnne Boon. Welcome on VH Berries.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here with you, Victor.
I am extremely grateful. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's pouring rain in Vancouver today, so I can hear the rain on the roof, but
You are in the very special environment and unique places filled with LED lights and macro and wide lenses. Can you tell me what you're seeing around you and what you're feeling with your five senses?
yeah, I'm in the studio right now, so I have all the lights around me, and I love being in front of the camera, so I'm very excited to be here.
In definitive, RaeAnne Boon, you're already on the go to record the season 2 of School Spirits, and I would love to discuss about that television series because this is one of the greatest one of this year.
Thank you so much. Yeah, being on School Spirits has been such a blessing to me in my career, and playing Dawn has been so amazing. The character of Dawn, she does a complete transformation throughout the entire first season of School Spirits. And she starts out as this really silly and goofy ghost, and she's really starry-eyed, and she stares at this light all day, and no one really understands her, and she loves eating gum she finds in the theater under seats and stealing the living kids' iPhones, and she died in the 70s, so she's enthralled with technology and Instagram and that kind of stuff. So she starts out the series just being this little oddball and the comedic relief, I think, of the show in general, and then as the season transforms, we really worked to pull back the layers of Dawn and really see the heart of her because, while she is this silly character, at the end of the day, School Spirits is a series about teenagers that died in high school, and that's really sad. And towards the end of the season, Maddie wants to do a seance to conjure up the memories of her last day on Earth, and she's having difficulty doing that. So Dawn steps in and decides to lead the seance with an example of her last day here in the 70s. So they go back in time and relive Dawn's last moments on Earth, and it's revealed to be that she was really betrayed by her friends, and she was really hurt when she died. And I feel like so many of the fans, and myself included, really resonate with her story because feeling like you don't belong and feeling like no one understands you and feeling like a loser is such a universal experience, especially in high school. And then Dawn has to deal with the repercussions of reliving those traumatic memories, and she kind of falls into a ball of herself where she not only felt like a loser on the day she died in the 70s, but she also felt like a loser for the last 50 years that she was a ghost in the school. And to find out how to deal with that and find some resolution for her is really her journey in the first season. And I just feel so lucky and fortunate to have been given an arc like that on a brand new show. And when I first read the first script for School Spirits, I remember thinking, I need to be on this show. The writing on the show is incredible. And I was like, I'll do anything to be on this show. And I was really glad that that was in the cards for me. And I get to do such a full transformation as Dawn. I mean, she has a different voice than me. She has a different hair than me. She has different mannerisms than me. And getting to completely change myself into being her, but I really wanted to bring my heart and my energy into her as well. So it was a lot of fun, and I'm so thrilled with how this first season turned out.
We can completely feel, RaeAnne Boon, that you were bringing all your passion and energy. And to come back to your character, who is named Dawn, as you just mentioned, she has been stuck in that high school for the past 50 years because the only thing that she can do is to tell you your horoscope from year 1972.
Yeah. Yeah. And Dawn is just, she loves astrology. She was part of the astrology club when she was living, and she loves like looking at the stars, which is actually just mold on the ceiling. And she loves that kind of stuff. And she's really like, she likes what she likes, and she's really passionate about the things she's passionate about, which I think is also a quality I have with myself as well.
Absolutely. And in addition of putting astrology and, for example, spirituality on the table again, this television series called School Spirits is also putting the trend of cutting your hair with a steak knife back again.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was so funny, that line about Dawn cutting her hair with a steak knife, because that solidifies that ghosts' hair grows. So they have to get haircuts. And I think that's just so funny because, you know, we're these ghosts and we never change outfits and we always look the same, but our hair grows. So yeah, sometimes you got to do what you got to do when you're trapped in the school for 50 years.
And RaeAnne Boon, I also noticed that costumes have doesn't need to be changed every single day because, as you just said, because you are playing a ghost that was stuck in a precise moment, you are almost always wearing the same clothes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's the thing, is these ghosts, they wear what they died in, and they can put on little accessories and take them off, but their main outfit stays the same. And our costume designer, Beverly, she did such a fantastic job pulling me real vintage 70s clothes for Dawn to wear. So everything is authentic to the time period. And we really wanted to make sure we got the look right for Dawn right at the beginning, right for the first day of filming, because once we chose it, it can never change. So really making sure we got it. And I love that Dawn has this like orange red, like that's her thing. She's like decked out in orange and red, and she's just so fiery, and she really just like pops with the color that she's wearing. And I love the look that they pulled for her.
The look that they pulled on her is very colorful and very bright, with a very special style attached to Dawn. For example, her hands always touching her hair, the chewing gum bubbles at the very beginning, but also the red flashy pants and unclear boots.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just love her look. And it was so funny. The very first day of filming, I went in for my hair test so we could get Dawn's hair right, because it's very different than what my hair looks like. And I remember our showrunner, Oliver, said to me on literally the very first day of filming, he said to the hair people, he's like, oh, make it look like she got electrocuted. And I was like, oh, I didn't even really think about anything. And then we were filming the show, and I was like, how did Dawn die? How did Dawn die? And no one would tell me. And then I finally got the last script, and I was like, wait, no, I've known this whole time. Oliver told me on the first day, and I like completely I didn't put two and two together at all until I realized that, yeah, that is how she died. She did get electrocuted.
And now that you're telling that to me, RaeAnne Boon, this is maybe why she loves to sit on top of the locker rooms to stay away from, for example, the electric cables.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And she's just mesmerized by this light that I feel like she just, when she touched the light on the day she died, it felt like she was like magnetized to the light bulb. So that's why she loves to sit on the lockers and just stare at the flashing lights all day.
Absolutely. And RaeAnne Boon, in addition of having a very brilliant details on the costumes and on the backstories of your character Dawn, I also notice a lot of very artistical choices. For example, when it comes to do flashbacks of scenes that happen in real life, for example, with the ratio of the screen switching from 16 to 9 to the traditional television format of 4:3. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, I feel like that was such a brilliant choice from the editorial team, is to do that, to really make a difference between present day and flashbacks, because all of us wear the same outfits, right? So you can't really change it with costumes. So to use the aspect ratio on the flashbacks versus the real days, I thought was just a brilliant choice on their behalf to do. And it's so smooth and flawless, the transitions they do. They'll have like an actor walk through and then it will be back in time. And then another actor will walk through and it'll be back to the present. And I just love that part.
Absolutely. I do remember one of those transition with one of the character walking out of the car. I don't know if you remember that part, but this is a great illustration of those changes of aspect ratio.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was Xavier. I remember Xavier specifically had a moment like that where he exited out and then they went back in time.
Absolutely. It was Xavier. I was trying to look the name and remember it, but you did before me.
I'm a big fan of the show. Honestly, if I wasn't in the show, I would watch the show anyways because I just love it. I'm such a fan.
Absolutely. And RaeAnne Boon, what pieces of advice would you give to anyone having to adjust to high school in the afterlife?
Yeah, I feel like I learned a lot of big lessons from being Dawn, and she taught me two major things. She taught me to really unapologetically be myself, like really be true to who you are. People are going to love you no matter what. Be weird, be silly, like what you like, and don't apologize for that. And then another thing I learned from being Dawn is that kindness is just so valuable. And you never know when being kind to someone could save their life. So to always move with kindness and move with being a good person. And that could have saved Dawn, and maybe it could save some other teenagers in high school. So always walk with kindness.
Always walk with kindness. And your character, Dawn, is also being herself. For example, I noticed that she was, for example, dancing in the back of the truck when the song called When the Saints Go Marching In was played by the band.
Yeah, there was actually a longer part of that scene that didn't make the final cut where Dawn was dancing in the truck and she was singing along to the song. And she says, like, I love this part, and just keeps singing along to the song. And I think that's so funny because they probably played the same song every Friday for the last 50 years. And she still finds so much joy in the music from the band year after year after year.
Absolutely, RaeAnne Boon. I knew that you had another sequences in which you were dancing, because in the image I saw you were in the background of the set, and I was sure that you had your dancing part, but unfortunately, as you just said, it was removed.
You know, sometimes things get removed from shows. That's just the way it goes.
I feel that you're doing a direct reference to one of your other projects back in the beginning of this decade. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, for sure. My first job I ever got professionally was for FX Network's A Teacher. And I was so excited. I mean, it was like a little part. It only had like 2 days on set. I had like 5 lines. And I was just so excited to finally get something after years of auditioning and facing a lot of rejection. I was like so ready to go. And I was working with Nick Robinson and Kate Mara. And they are, I mean, huge names in the film industry. So I was like so stoked to get to be on this show. And it actually filmed just outside of my hometown too. So I got to go out there, and my dad would like drive me to set because he was all excited and he wanted to like see what the trailers looked like and see what the set looked like because he had never been on a set before. And I was so nervous and so excited. And then about a year later, the show comes out. And again, I'm so excited, you know, my first time ever being on TV. And we watch it, and then the scene goes by and I'm not in it. They cut me out except for like one split second. It goes to me and it looks like I'm about to say something. And then I don't say anything. It cuts away and I don't have any lines. And I'm just like there for no reason. And, yeah, so I just got like completely cut out of my first gig ever. But I talked to a lot of my actor friends about that, and they always say they've had the same experience. I feel like it's happened to all of us. And I look back on it now and it's just like a really funny story.
Right now you're seeing this chapter just like a little joke, and next time, RaeAnne Boon, that you have that feeling of, for example, when you're feeling that this will happen again, I would suggest to use your superpower of knowing everyone's passcode to change the narrative of the story. And for example, try the numbers 496273 on every phone.
I will definitely do that next time. I'm going to break into the editing suites and I'm going to make sure my scenes stay in.
Absolutely. And RaeAnne Boon, this character of Dawn, as you just mentioned, through the season 1, is going from a comedic role to a very serious one because you're one of the most powerful characters that always moves the story forward. And I would love to discuss about your journey since the very beginning in Alberta, Canada. Can you tell us a little bit more about those projects from the spectrum of comedy to more serious performances?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in a small town in Alberta, like you said, and there wasn't any film industry there. So I didn't get to start as a kid, even though I really wanted to. And I have always been the kid that wanted to be an actress. That was my whole life. And I feel so fortunate that my parents had been so supportive of me and still are with my acting career. My dad is like my #1 fan, and I remember when it was on my 17th birthday that I got signed with my first agent ever. And I remember my audition at the agency was my first time even being on camera. Like, I was so new to it. And for some reason, she wanted to sign me, and thankfully for that. And I started auditioning for like one-line parts in Calgary, which is 2 hours out of my hometown. And my mom would drive me 2 hours, do the one-line audition, and then we drive 2 hours home. And I am so, so grateful for her doing that for me. I mean, that's amazing that she was willing to put in that much effort and energy into my acting when I was a teenager. And I have like the best parents in the whole world, and I'm so grateful for all their support. And when I was growing up in Alberta, I really just tried to do as many short films and student films and anything I could get my hands on just so I could practice acting and practice being in front of the camera. And I was like a member of the Independent Film Society, and we just put together like these really, really short films with no budget at all. And I just like was so hungry to keep practicing and keep getting better. And then I moved to Vancouver and kept pursuing training and kept growing in my work and doing auditions. And it's been a long process, and it hasn't been an easy journey for sure, but I'm just so grateful for everyone that has given me a yes in my career, because that every yes I've gotten has been a life-changing yes. And I'm so happy for where I am in my career now, and I'm so excited to see where I'm going to go next. And I feel so fortunate because I've always really had a natural instinct for comedy. To me, comedy is like math. I really see comedy like math. It's like A plus B equals C with the jokes. And I've just always had a really natural instinct for comedy, even when I was a kid. And I've always felt so much ease doing comedic roles. And that's why I was so happy to get Dawn, is because she is silly, but she's also honest. And I get to do both at the same time. And I feel like the best comedies are dramas, and the best dramas are comedies. And I feel like when you blend the two, that's the perfect mixture for any show. And I just loved being Dawn.
The best comedy or drama, and the best drama or comedy. And as you just said, RaeAnne Boon, you always had that natural instinct for those projects. But would you say that you're seeing some similarities between the independent film society and the Split River High Afterlife support group? Is there some common point?
I really hope not, because the Split River Afterlife Support Group is not where to be. And Dawn knew that. No one listened to her, and everyone else is trapped there, and Dawn got to be free. So I think that's the only time anyone's ever been lucky to not be a part of a club.
Absolutely. In definitive, this is better to keep those two groups clearly separated. And I also feel, RaeAnne Boon, that you have this sense for creativity because of the independent projects that you mentioned, but also because you are currently in a creative space in which you can record and create your own stories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've really, in the last year of my life, really taken my career into my own hands. I got really tired of just waiting for other people to give me a yes, so I started producing my own projects, and I was selected to be part of the Women in Film and TV Vancouver producer program, and through that program I was provided with so much education and mentorship on how to produce film and television, because you can't go to college and learn how to be a producer. It doesn't exist. So I was so fortunate that the Women in Film Society selected me and took me under their wing and really taught me about producing. And I'm so excited to have multiple projects in development that I can create my own work and tell my own stories and really take my career into my own hands with that. And I believe everyone has their own voice, and everyone deserves to tell their own stories. And I'm really just finally taking a stand and wanting to tell my own stories.
This is very inspiring, RaeAnne Boon, and I truly believe that you could do exactly like Made in Years, which is to have a fun case with those very powerful words, buck the fake hierarchy.
Yeah. Exactly.
What is your personal explanation and meaning behind that phone case? Because I am not sure to understand all the implicit senses.
Yeah, I mean, the phone case, buck the patriarchy that Maddie has on the show, really is I think, just a joke on the term F the patriarchy, right? And about, women empowerment. And Maddie is all about that. And I'm sure Dawn would have been too if she was born in the 2000s as well.
I am looking forward to potentially see this new line of phone cases, and also obviously looking for potentially the next season of School Spirits. Thank you very much, RaeAnne Boon.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you for having me. It was so much fun.